Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top. Teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colin Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of five, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio. And now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the conversation. It is the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast download. And as a result of just being maniacally focused on helping great folks like you, Thrive Nation, we have now reached the top 20 on iTunes in the business section consistently. We're top 10, top 7, top 13. Consistently, we're hovering around the top 10 on the iTunes business charts. And recently, about a week ago, we hit number 1 overall of all podcasts in the world, of which there are over 530,000 podcasts, according to the Wall Street Journal. So I appreciate you helping us get to the next level.
Boom.
And so what happens is people are emailing us. They're emailing out questions. They're emailing us questions about, hey, how do I grow this business? How do I do that? How do I do this? Well, we had one gentleman by the name of Robert who wants to know how to dominate and how to grow his vending machine business. So how do you grow a vending machine business? So let me just tee up some of the known variables that we know about Robert as a result of our coaching call with him. We know he wants to grow his business from $100,000 per year to $200,000 per year. We know he wants to work with his wife. We know he wants to travel to the beach, and we know he wants to go to Disney World with his kids. And currently he has 20 locations for his vending machines, but he needs 15 just to break even. So he wants to know, how can I go to the next level? And he wants to be pushed on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest. He wants to be pushed at a 10 level. This guy wants to go. Robert, you want to move. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to teach you specifically what you need to do if you want to grow fast. I'm not talking about get rich quick and scamming people. What I'm talking about is moving at a very fast pace. So that's why today's show is titled Waging War Against the Demons of Doubt in Your Head, helping Robert rise above and dominate the vending machine industry. So, my friend, here are the action items for you. And what I'm going to do is, Sean, you are a business coach. You work with business owners.
Yes.
So I'm going to teach the principle, and it's going to be kind of a rapid-fire show. And I want you to share where most people would push back, where maybe clients you've had in the past might push back.
Okay.
That way Robert doesn't have to push back. He'll just go, okay, that's what a lot of people have done in the past. I'm not going to push back. I just want to know where a lot of people might get stuck here.
Yeah.
So step 1, you have to determine the number of deals you need per week to reach your goals. You have to know the number of deals you need to get per week to achieve your goals.
Yeah,
Sean.
that's a good one. So in order to find that out, you've got to go face a lot of rejection. So if this guy's doing vending machines, right, and he needs more locations, you're going to have a bunch of people tell you, no, you can't put your vending machine here. And people don't want to hear no, so don't push
Which
back
leads
on
us to step 2, which is determine the number of rejections you need per week to achieve your goals. I want to go back to step 1, though, and I want to get this idea. Why do most clients that you've worked with why do most clients you worked with not know their numbers as it relates to, they don't even know how many goals they need to actually get to per week to achieve their goals? Why do most clients not know the actual number of deals they need to get to per week to achieve their goals? Why do you think that is?
What I find, I work with a lot of home builders, and what I find is that they are typically not marketing for specific types of ideal clients. So they're marketing for people who, or they're not marketing, and so they're just taking what they can get, and that means they might be building a house that's $120,000, and they might also be building a house that's $500,000. And in order to really know your numbers and dial in on what's sustainable, it needs to be a scalable product and service that you're doing. And if you're all over the board, it's hard to wrap your head around having a scalable product or service.
I also have some very specific reasons for you, Mr. Robert, where a lot of people get stuck here, okay? A lot of reasons people don't know their numbers. 1, you must document your fixed expenses for the past year. You must document your variable expenses for the past year. you must document your hidden expenses for the past year. And this process will take a minimum of 20 hours. You've got to sit down and know your numbers because nobody knows their numbers. I have yet to meet with a business owner that has clear knowledge of their numbers when they're doing under $500,000 a year of sales. Most people, when they're starting up, they just don't know. And so you want to really know your numbers. So step 2, you have to determine the number of rejections you need to get per week to achieve your goals. The rejections. And you've got to get to a place in your life mentally where the demons of rejection don't bother you. I can honestly tell you, Robert, I get rejected all the time, and I just don't care. You know? So when I built the DJ company, my company DJconnection.com, I would literally I'd have my team call every single person in the phone book, every yellow page listing in the phone book, all of them, to see if they needed a DJ for their holiday party, starting with the A, which we called apartment complexes. We called, you move there through the alphabet through, like, let's say orthodontists. You're in the O section. We call all the orthodontists. And we didn't care how many rejections that we got because I didn't care how many rejections we got. And furthermore, I knew how many rejections we needed to get. So I knew that if we made 100 outbound calls a day per rep, we would set probably 2 appointments a day. And out of those 2 appointments, we'd probably have one person that was a good fit. So I wrote down on the wall, everyone saw it, every rep has to get 100 rejections a day, and that creates 2 appointments, which turns into one deal. But I was the one who created the system. So for years, it's just me. It's just me. Do you know how lonely it is when it's just you? And you're the one making the calls, and you don't have a boss or a partner or anybody at all to encourage you. It's just you against the world making calls. Rejection. And there's nobody encouraging me, nobody to tell me you can do it. There's nothing there. It's just me and a phone, and I'm making calls over and over and over. I'm getting rejected. When you get to a place where the rejections don't bother you at all, you'll win. But until that time, you're going to avoid the very thing that's going to get you closer to your goal, and that is getting on the phone with your ideal and likely buyers. I believe every time that we get a rejection as a human, there's 2 voices you hear. There's the voice of Satan. I'm a literal believer in the actual Bible. Some people don't believe that way, but work with me on this. I believe that you hear the voice of Satan and you hear the voice of God. On one shoulder, Satan says, you should probably quit. It's probably not going to happen. I mean, if it was meant to be, wouldn't you already have a deal? I mean, are you really do you have what it takes? I don't think you do. Why don't you just get a job? And then right about the time that you start to hear those voices, somebody in your life will come up to you and say, "Well, don't worry about it. I mean, maybe it's just not meant to be." Then on the other side, I believe it's the voice of God in faith and encouragement, where God's saying, "You're one step closer. You're one step closer. You've got to push through. You've got this. You can do this. You can make it happen." And so John 10:10 from the Bible talks about this idea. John 10:10 writes, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." So you've absolutely got to get to a place where you hear the voice of God. You hear the voice of encouragement, and you do not hear the voice of discouragement. Now, Napoleon Hill also writes here in the book, he's written the number 1 self-help book of all time, Think and Grow Rich, but he also wrote a book called Outwitting the Devil, where he writes, "You are entitled to know that 2 entities occupy your body. One of these entities is motivated by and responds to the impulse of fear. The other is motivated by and responds to the impulse of faith. Will you be guided by faith, or will you allow fear to overtake you?" Napoleon Hill. He goes on to write, "The capacity to surmount failure without being discouraged is the chief asset of every person who attains outstanding success in any calling." That right there, if you get nothing else out of today's podcast, the capacity to surmount failure without being discouraged is the chief asset of every person who achieves outstanding success in any calling. The capacity to surmount failure without being discouraged. Without being discouraged is the chief asset of every person who attains outstanding success in any calling. He goes on to write, those who do little or no thinking for themselves are drifters. A drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by the circumstances outside of his mind. So, my friend, I know that you're the kind of guy who's proactive, but you've got to get to a place where you're not discouraged at all when you run into failure. Step 3, you have to determine, Sean, to keep the quality high as you scale by blocking out time for weekly team training into your schedule. Determine to keep high quality as you scale by blocking out time for weekly team training into your schedule. Sean, why is that so important?
Oh, it's huge. We were talking about Ben Horowitz a lot in the last segment, and he says that if you're trying to grow a company and you're not training, it's the equivalent of being hungry and not, having time to eat or not wanting to go eat. So it's just you have to do it because constantly people are going to drift. Other people, your employees, are going to drift. And doing that training helps to keep them in line, doing what is going to help your business grow.
Now, step 4, Mr. Robert, you want to design an optimized schedule. And now, this is what your optimized schedule is going to look like. I'm going to tell you the things you have to put into your schedule, and your coach can help you do that. But you've got to schedule 1 hour a week to do a weekly group interview. Sean, why do you have to do a weekly group interview every week if you want to grow your small business beyond just surviving?
Oh, there's a lot of reasons.
Go for it.
People are a huge piece. You can't grow a business past a certain point without people. So how do you find the good people? You got to look at a lot of people. That's why we do the group interview. So you can look at a lot of people without spending a ton of your own personal time by using the group interview system. And also, if you do have people, this is a wonderful tool that keeps them real. It keeps them aware of the fact that, hey, you're constantly looking for A players out there, and if they fall out of line, they got to go.
Now, once you have that weekly group interview going on, you also have to schedule a time for a daily huddle. Why do you have to huddle with your team every day?
Just to keep the energy going, to keep them to connect with those people, and to make sure that everybody's set with everything that they need
every day.
Every day.
Every day. 15-minute daily huddle. 15-minute daily huddles with your team.
Every day.
Even if it's just you and a dude, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Then you got to schedule 1 hour per week to do weekly training with your team. This is in addition to the group interview. We talked about it earlier, but why do you have to schedule, Sean, again, weekly times to train with your team?
Well, especially if you have new people, it's an opportunity for them to learn more about their position and how it relates to the company, and also to just rehash over and over and over the processes that are making the company successful.
Then you have to have a weekly meeting, 1 hour a week, where you look at your finances to make sure that you're not drifting. Why do business coaching clients, why do all the business owners out there listening need to schedule 1 hour per week to look over their key performance indicators in the area of their finances?
I recommend if you're trying to grow, you spend at least 2 hours, man.
Whoa!
There's a lot of time it should go into this. You got to inspect what you expect. And if you're trying to grow a company financially, you got to know all the money that's coming into all the business accounts and all the money that's going out.
Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to schedule an hour per week to meet with yourself. Myself? I love him. I love me with myself. Yes. So I'm here meeting with myself today. So, Self, how you doing? Well, I tell you what, you doing good. So, Self, let me ask you this. What are you doing right now that you should not be doing? I mean, what are you doing that you say to yourself, Self, what thing, Self, are you... It is so hard for me to say words with S's, but yet this entire area is about myself, so I'll just push through this. But what am I doing that I should not be doing myself? Well, now, maybe I shouldn't be going to Office Depot to buy office supplies. Maybe I shouldn't be being the person who has to go out there and buy the paper, because that's also office supplies. I just said the same thing twice. Well, good thing I got an hour. So what else should I be? Well, maybe I shouldn't be the person who answers my phone. That's it, right? That's right. I should probably hire somebody else who answers my phone because I'm so busy installing the vending machines and I don't have time for that myself. I don't got time. Maybe I shouldn't be the person who's doing all the payroll because I can hire Paychex to do that for me, and Paychex could make that happen for me. But you have to ask yourself every week, what are the things I shouldn't be doing that I am doing? And you got to hire somebody else to do it. And you want to ask yourself this, what is one action step that I could take this week that would change my life for the better? So one, like this week in my own life there, Robert, is a very, very good friend of mine has referred me multiple times to a literary agent for my books. And she's based in New York. And so I've thought to myself, if I indeed landed this person as a literary agent, it would open up many, many doors for my family that are currently not open. So that is on my list of things I need to do this week. Also, I've got my to-do list right in front of me, so I'll put it up on the camera on the YouTube version of the show so you can see this. But the onboarding process when someone buys an Elephant in the Room franchise needs to be improved. I need to go to Denver in July to finish our franchise disclosure document. FC Dotson, our commercial real estate build-out company for Elephant in the Room, they need to know the specific brand number and the model number of the salon mirrors we use and the foot cushions and anti-fatigue mats that we use. I need to buy a 16 by 20 frame, and I actually bought that, so I can cross that off. Oh, my gosh, this is so exciting, Robert. I can cross that off because I just bought it. So I can cross that off there. I need to talk to Dr. Edwards about the trip, about Delricht. Delricht is a clinical research company I'm involved with, and they're going to be opening a location in Tulsa. So I need to talk to Dr. Edwards about that. But I already did it, so I can cross it off. That's exciting. So again, but you want to make sure you make note every single day about what are the things that you could be doing that would move the needle the most, and what are the things you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And so in order to have that conversation with yourself and improve every day, you want to schedule a weekly meeting specifically with yourself about the question of what should you be doing that you're not doing, what are you doing that you shouldn't be doing, and what is one action step that you could take that would change your life for the better. Step 5, Sean, you've got to stop invoicing as soon as possible, if possible. Sean, why do you want to start invoicing as soon as possible, if possible?
You want to stop invoicing as soon as possible, if possible, because invoicing is terrible for your cash flow. It's just not going to help to know that, I just finished a job and 60 days from now I'll get payment. That's not good.
It's not good.
You want to collect at least half up front if you can. More if you can. But just work that right into the very beginning conversations you're having with a new prospective deal. Just credit card or debit card at the end of that conversation. Let them know that's how you do business, and train your customers that you're going to collect that upfront deposit.
Step 6, you want to optimize your local Google map. Sean, what does it mean to optimize your local Google map, and why do you want to optimize your local Google map?
This just in. Google is the king of the internet.
Repeat it again.
Google is the king of the internet. We cannot avoid this as business owners. You got to just embrace it. And so getting that business listing set up is easy. It's a pretty simple process. Your coach can help you with it. But once you get it up now, people can find you when they type in things that they're looking for that you provide.
Step 4, your coach will help you through this as well, but you have to get 100 reviews as soon as possible. Sean, why is it super important for everybody to for every business owner to get 100 sincere and objective reviews from actual customers as soon as possible?
People won't buy from you if they don't trust you, and reviews are like trust in a bottle. It's beautiful that you can have people leave a response online that other people will see about their good experience, and it's something from Forbes, 88% of people trust online reviews as much or more than personal recommendations. So it would just be silly to not do it then.
What I have found is that very few people will write a review by default unless you're intentional about asking, and your coach can teach you how to do that. But for Elephant in the Room, our men's grooming lounge, for the workshops we have for Thrive, I mean, if you're going to travel, let me read the reviews here from a recent workshop attendee. But if you're thinking about traveling to Tulsa, Oklahoma from Canada, would you not read reviews first?
Oh, for sure.
So here's a review from Josh Spurrell from Canada, who wrote this 2 days ago. He says, I've owned an accounting firm in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada for the last 7 years. I attended a couple of conferences per year to learn new business strategies that I can share with my clients and to help them with their business. I find that most conferences have 1 to 2 useful pieces of information per day at most. The rest of the time, you sit through the fluff and the upselling. The Thrive Show had 1 to 2 actionable ideas every hour of the 2-day conference. Additionally, they capped their attendance at 100 people. This allowed the presenters to answer all of the questions the guests were putting on the question board throughout the 2 days. If you're looking for fluff, go to one of the other guys. If you want a library of actionable advice to move your business forward, go to Tulsa to see the Thrive Time Show. Mike Sumner writes from Milwaukee, can't say enough about the company. They've been so helpful, not only with the podcast, but also with the one-on-one coaching. I work with Victoria for my business coaching, and she's great. She holds me accountable, and it's very helpful in setting realistic expectations. She does that all while helping me break my mindset of this is how it's always been, so it has to be this way. I can't thank the team enough for helping me boost my business to new heights. Bethany Seipert writes, visited Thrive for the 2-day workshop. This was unlike any conference I've experienced. The Thrive representatives were each extremely helpful and encouraging. Such a fun experience to get to interact with a company that truly acts as a team. Filled with high energy, the conference included interactive sessions that were straightforward and filled with valuable information. Kinley writes, Eddie writes, Sandra writes, Mike writes, Colin writes. They're all writing. Real feedback from real people just like you who've attended our workshops. Therefore, if you're thinking about attending our conferences from Canada, hopefully your confidence level has been, according to Forbes, 88% of people read reviews before buying something online. So people are reading that to go, is this a good use of my time? And that's why it's so important. You just have to get reviews. Your ads will not work. Your advertisements will not work until you get a minimum of 40 objective Google reviews. Step number 8, create a Google Canonical compliant website. Why does he have to create a Google canonically compliant website? Sean, what does it mean to create a canonically compliant website, and why does he have to do it?
Well, he has to do it again. Google is king, so we got to work with Google. We're not going to be able to change Google's rules, so we'll work with them. I think it's 1996 when they came up with these rules. They're probably not changing them anytime soon.
Right.
So what we need to do is we need to get the website with the most content about whatever it is that you're selling, more than the competition, at least double. And your coach can show you what is your competition.
Now, there's 4 variables that will get you to the top of Google. 4 variables that will get you to the top of Google. A lot of sub-details under that, but there's 4 variables.
Yes.
1, whoever has the most reviews gets to get to the top of Google. Whoever has the most reviews gets to be top. View a review as like 10 points. Let's say you're playing basketball. There's 1-pointers. That's like a free throw. There's 2-pointers, and there's 3-pointers, but there's 10-pointers, okay? So a 10-pointer would be a Google review. A Google review is like a 10-pointer.
Swish.
Canonical compliance, where you follow all of the rules that Google has for you, that's like a 50-point shot. From way downtown, boom. That's like you hitting it from the upper deck. Now, that's a 50-pointer. Now, a review is like a 10-pointer. Now, content, every time you add a piece of content, that's like 2 points.
Yeah.
And mobile compliance is like 50 points.
Yeah.
But if you're not mobile compliant, you could still get to the top of Google, but it's harder. If you have no content at all, you could be to the top, but it's harder. If you have no canonical compliance, you're never going to get to the top.
Yeah.
And the reviews really push your rank. So you want to get all 4 variables working. And all you have to do is gather reviews from your sincere clients as much as possible. Gather objective reviews from sincere clients as much as possible, and you will win. I would hold yourself accountable to a daily quota of getting like 1 review a day or 2 reviews a day. But just make a put it in your schedule that you're going to commit to a set number of Google reviews that you're going to get per day. Now, step number 9, you have to develop a no-brainer that works. Step number 10, you have to design retargeting ads. Step number 11, you have to launch the group interview process. Step 13, you have to launch your 3-legged marketing stool. Step 14, you have to install tracking. Step 15, you've got to create a workflow with the WOW experience. And step 16, go to thrivetimeshow.com/Tower of Power. That's thrivetimeshow.com/Tower of Power. Your coach is going to coach you through step 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. They're going to walk you through all the steps. But right now, we've walked you through those first few steps that you have to take, and you want to take big, you want to have the mindset that you're going to bring a big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum to the execution of these items. That's why I wear a hat that says boom. That's why our walls say boom. You've got to bring a big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum to each and every day if you want to move beyond just surviving. You've got to bring a big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum if you want to move beyond surviving. I'm talking about a ridiculous energy and passion. We know the proven path, but if you do not exert the energy needed to do it, you're not going to have success. And I'm passionate about you. I'm passionate about helping you, Robert. But if you want to be pushed at a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving you a 10. If I was your actual coach, I'd be telling you right now, you have got to get this done. Implement the systems as soon as possible. I'm a mildly retarded person that took my ACT 3 times. I took algebra 3 times, but I was able to have massive success because I bring the boom every day. Just tell me what to do, and I'll do it. And Robert, you sound like that kind of person. So without any further ado, we're going to end this show with a boom, but I encourage you, if you've not yet booked your ticket, book your ticket to the Thrive Time Show in-person 2-day workshop. The event is free because you are a business coaching client. All you got to do is pay for the book itself, and it's like $27 for the workbook and all this stuff. But you can attend the conference for free if you're a business coaching client. But book your tickets today. So we like to end the show with a boom, which stands for big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum. So now, without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom!